Five Nights at Freddy's, Poppy Playtime, and every other horror game that has ever been made all have one thing in common. While they might be incredibly scary, they are all beatable. Okay, that's a lie. I've never beaten half these games, but someone out there has. So I'm gonna go through the most famous horror games ever and tell you which ones I would survive if I was actually in the game myself and which ones I would just give up in. If I'm being real, I would probably give up in all these scenarios, but then the video would only be 30 seconds and that can't happen. So anyways, before we get into the actual games, we have to rewind a little bit. A while back, I did a video breaking down horror movie villains I could beat. And I said the only reason horror movie victims ever die is because they make incredibly dumb decisions. They hear a noise in the dark basement and go investigate it alone with no weapon. They'll knock the killer unconscious, hold his weapon in their own hands, look at it, and then place it right back next to his head. But horror games are different from movies because in a horror game, the controller is in my hands. So if I get slimed out by Huggy Wuggy, it's my fault. So I'm gonna tell you exactly how it would go if I was in every popular horror game, starting off with Five Nights at Freddy's. Let me set the scene for those of you who haven't played this game or if you just need a refresher. It's your first day at a, trigger warning, I'm gonna say a word some people don't like, but it's your first day at a job, and the role of this job is to be overnight security at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. It's basically Chuck E. Cheese if they ate people. Your work hours are midnight to 6 a.m. and your entire job is to sit in the security office and monitor the building to make sure no one breaks in. Easiest job in the world. You just watch movies all night and then go home in the morning. Except here's what is not included anywhere in the job description. The 4 animatronic characters who perform for children during the day, Freddy the Bear, Bonnie the Bunny, Chica the Chicken, and Foxy the Pirate Fox, they come to life at night. And if they find you, their plan is to stuff your body into an animatronic suit. Not very nice, is it? So how would this horror game go if I was in it? I would die. I would not make it through this job. But what I want to do is walk you through exactly why I wouldn't make it as we meet each character, because there's very good reasoning for why I say this. Let's start off with the main reason I wouldn't make it, the power system. In this game, you have a limited electricity budget for the entire night, and you spend that power checking security cameras, turning on the lights in the hallways on either side of your office, making sure none of the animatronics are there. And if they are, you spend more power closing the 2 doors right next to you. But if your power runs out before 6 a.m., everything shuts off. The doors open, the lights go out, and then Freddy basically comes and eats your face. So you have to find a way to make a very small amount of power last 6 hours. Unfortunately, I'm just not gonna be able to make that happen. I would be out of power by 2 a.m. on night 1. Like, I'd be doom scrolling from 12 to 2, sucking up all the power, and then boom, I'm cooked. It wouldn't even be because I was checking the monitors and turning the lights on so much that I lost power. No, it would literally be because I can't sit still without my phone for more than 5 seconds. So I would just be using that iPad, but instead of checking security cameras on it, I would be watching AI fruits eat each other. But let's just say that this wasn't a possibility. Say I didn't have access to the internet and only had the same capabilities you have when playing the game. Well, I would still fail because I'm a very anxious person. So I would check cameras constantly in the first hour because every time I looked away, I would immediately need to look back to confirm nothing moved. I do this in real life. Whenever I stay at hotels, I check to make sure the door is locked, I go to bed, and then I get up 5 seconds later thinking I must have just imagined locking it and it's still unlocked. So that's how I would lose a bunch of power. But even if I was able to get rid of that anxiety and not check the camera so often, I promise you, the moment I see one of those animatronics staring into my office, I am shutting that door and leaving it closed until the power goes out. I don't care if I check the hallway again and Bonnie's gone now. If I see an animatronic in that hallway just once, the doors are shutting and they're not opening back up again. I'm also gonna call the police, but that's another story. Remember, this is real life. If this actually happened in your life, you're not choosing to open that door back up. But even then, let's say you've mustered up the courage to open the doors when the animatronics disappear because you're trying to conserve your energy. I'm still not beating the game because the animatronics are all good at different things. Freddy himself is the slow threat. He barely moves on the first nights, kind of like Joe from the show You. He just stalks you from a distance before making his move. But by the later nights in the game, he's fully active. So I would constantly waste my battery checking on him every night just to see if he moved. Bonnie is always the first one to move at the start of every single night. Like, bro is genuinely excited to eat whoever is security for that night. He comes from the left side. He'll position himself just outside your office door in the exact blind spot of the camera angle, which means you cannot confirm he's there without turning on the left hallway light. Chica works the right side, and she would be the one to actually finish me because you can always hear her moving through the kitchen. And let's just be real. If I'm working in the security office for 6 whole hours, chances are I'm gonna get hungry. So if I hear someone in the kitchen, I would think,
maybe the chefs got here early to start cooking up the pizza.
But then when I would actually walk into the kitchen, the only thing being eaten there would be me. Chica knows my weakness is food, and she knows exactly how to take advantage of that. Now for Foxy. If I saw Foxy in real life, I would give up. Because I've had genuine heart palpitations due to Foxy scaring me while playing the game. So just imagine what that would be like in real life. If you're not very familiar with Foxy, he lives behind a curtain in Pirate's Cove. And he will have you checking those cameras more often than I check the Instagram page of the girl I liked to see if she followed me back. She never did. But if you check on Foxy too frequently, he gets agitated and charges at you. If you don't check on him enough, he still sprints at you when you're not looking, and he bangs on your door, which drains your battery. Why would I want to deal with this, especially when I could just accept my fate and go into the afterlife? And even more so considering the fact that I'm an overnight security officer. I'm probably making like $8.50 an hour. I'm already overstimulated enough in life. I don't got time to be thinking about 1,000 things at once, like checking the cameras, looking in the hallways, keeping track of every single animatronic. This is overnight security. I signed up for this because I thought I would be able to clock in, watch those videos of people building houses out of nothing in the middle of the woods, and after 6 hours, go home. The worst part about all this is that if you find a way to actually survive all 5 nights, it doesn't end there because there's like 7 other games. If I went through all those games, this video would be like 3 hours long, and I'm way too lazy to do that. So we're just gonna speed through how the other games would go if I was in them. The second Five Nights at Freddy's game keeps everything from the first, but makes it scarier. The toy animatronics are new versions of the originals, but there's now a puppet in a music box that you actively have to focus on, which means every second you spend managing the puppet is a second you are not watching anything else. And then you got Balloon Boy, who doesn't hurt you directly, but he disables your flashlight so you can't check the vents, and then he laughs at you. And let me tell you right now, if my flashlight stops working while I'm doing this job, once again, I'm accepting my fate. I'll just sit there in the dark like this until I meet my demise.
Okay. We're doing good. Oh, what happened to my flashlight? What happened? You know what? I give up. Come on, just take me. I give up.
The next game in this series is Sister Location, which introduces Baby. This character actually helps you get through the game, so she can escape too. Finally, someone who's actually on my side in this series. This game, I think I could actually survive because I'm too dumb to survive these scenarios on my own, but if I had someone helping me like Baby, at least now I have a chance. Another game in the series is Security Breach, and I would never survive in this because I still can't even beat the game version. Seriously, I've played it for like 25 hours and I still can't do it. Point is, I can't do what this franchise asks of me. The animatronics are terrifying, but the honest truth is I'm not surviving this game mostly because you have to work a job, and that's just not something I'm willing to do. So I give myself a 5% chance of surviving Five Nights at Freddy's across all games combined. The only reason I give myself any chance is that if I was actually in the game and not stuck in the chair without being able to move, I would just run out of the exit the moment I hear that music playing and the game would be over. But enough about that haunted pizza restaurant. Let's move on to a haunted toy factory, the home of the game Poppy Playtime. Quick setup for everyone who's never played the game. You're a former employee of Playtime Co., a massive toy company whose entire factory staff vanished without explanation. No warning, no trace of them. But years later, you receive a letter apparently sent from someone still inside the abandoned building. And because you were the kind of person who, after reading a letter from an abandoned factory, thought,
Yeah, I should go there alone.
you decide to go. And the first thing you encounter in this factory is Huggy Wuggy. He is enormous. We're talking close to 10 feet tall, with long arms that hang almost to the floor, a permanent wide smile, and a face that is engineered to look friendly and inviting, but once he gets up close, it's terrifying. Think about how horrifying that is. He is 10 feet tall. That's basically my height. And every time someone sees me in public, they make this face. So I'm assuming they would do the same if they saw him. Huggy has a lot of trauma from being abused as a child, which sounds weird to say about a toy, but he takes that abuse out on you. So here's my honest take on Huggy Wuggy. Because he's so tall, there are areas of the factory he can't navigate at that size. There are spaces he's too tall to fit in. That's just the problem us super tall guys deal with every day. And in the game, your character is pretty short. I'm not short, but the character in the game is. So my whole plan would be to identify every single one of those spaces that Huggy Wuggy can't fit in and just go inside them and never leave. I'm not going anywhere Huggy Wuggy can also go. But even if you can handle him, you also have Kissy Missy, which is basically Pink Huggy Wuggy. She actually helps you in the game. But you know who doesn't? Mommy Longlegs. This is the character that will make my confidence drop. She's the main threat of the second chapter of this game. Where Huggy Wuggy is large and visible and gives you some warnings of his approach, Mommy Longlegs is fast and flexible and she can fit basically anywhere. Matter of fact, she could be under your bed right now. There's a couple reasons why she would probably be my downfall. First reason, she makes you play these games to actually beat her, which can be quite tricky because you have to use your brain. Now, I'm sure I don't even need to say why that would be hard for me to do, but if you don't understand what I mean, just look in the comment section of literally any of my shorts. Second reason, which is the more realistic one, is that Mommy low-key sounds like she's trying to rizz you up in the game. She talks in this flirtatious voice that makes you want to do whatever she says, and I've encountered this exact personality type in real life, and I always end up getting manipulated by them. Why? I don't know. But if you somehow manage to get past mommy, you've got these annoying little toys called the smiling critters. Seeing these creatures actually makes me wish I was in the game, because if I was, I would just drop kick them. They aren't even much of a threat themselves, but when you have so many of them attacking you and they're all making noise, you just decide to give up. I would definitely be able to beat them if you put me in this game though, because like I said, I just become Prime Ronaldo and start kicking them through walls at 100 miles per hour. Why they don't let you do that in the game will never make sense to me. And this reminds me, does anyone else have a friend who gives the worst advice? Like, if I ever have a cough or a sore throat, my friend will try to diagnose me and tell me exactly what I have. Did he do any research? No. Is he a doctor? No. But somehow, our friends will say it with so much confidence that you almost start to believe them. But still, I would take his advice because it was easier than figuring out the actual problem. And I think a lot of us do the same thing, either listening to a friend, a family member, or even someone we just met. Or worse, going online and searching based on symptoms and hoping for the best. I just never wanted to deal with actually getting a doctor to figure it out. Because let's be honest, it's a lot of work. Finding someone, calling around, waiting, not even knowing if they're going to be a good fit. It's enough to make you just not deal with it. But now, thanks to today's video sponsor, ZocDoc, you don't have to guess anymore. If you don't know what ZocDoc is, it's a website where you can find doctors near you, read real reviews, check if they take your insurance, and book an appointment instantly without calling anyone. They have over 150,000 providers across all 50 states and 200 plus specialties. So whatever's going on, you can actually find someone who knows what they're doing. You can see real-time availability, choose a time that works for you, and get it scheduled without turning into this whole ordeal. And appointments usually happen within 24 to 72 hours, sometimes even same day. So you can take care of it now instead of letting it drag out. I'm a guy who hates doing chores, and finding a doctor definitely feels like a chore. So ZocDoc has been a lifesaver. This is one of those things that's worth handling because I want you guys to feel good about your health. Without stressing or guessing, taking care of your health should just be easy so you can focus on feeling better. So if you've ever taken advice from that one friend who thinks they're a doctor, stop doing that and actually get professional care from a ZocDoc doctor today. Go to ZocDoc.com/Tyler Vitelli to book an appointment. The link is also in the description. Now back to the video. But about halfway through this series, you meet this mysterious purple creature named Catnap. And Catnap sprays red gas that puts you to sleep and handles the rest while you're unconscious. Sounds pretty illegal if you ask me. Well, I guess basically everything that happens in this game is illegal. Like murder. But if I was in this game and I had to deal with Catnap, I don't like my chances. I'm a guy who loves to sleep as it is. So picture this. I'm inside a toy factory, fighting for my life, which means I'm probably exhausted. And the moment I get a whiff of that red gas, I will gladly take a quick nap. Only problem is, I probably won't wake up from it. But honestly, if I had to choose a way to go out in this game, it would be this. Falling asleep is way better than getting ripped to shreds by Huggy Wuggy. Here's the core reason I survived Poppy Playtime when I clearly have no chance in Five Nights at Freddy's. You see these things right here? I can use these in the game. Okay, you probably have no idea what I mean by that. But what I'm saying is that you can actually move in Poppy Playtime, which means you can run and hide. Five Nights at Freddy's locks me in a fixed position and just says, good luck. You're basically paralyzed in that game. Not only can you move in Poppy Playtime, but you also have weapons to defend yourself. They give you a hand that's a gun, another hand that makes you jump super high. All these things can help you not get brutally destroyed by the villains. So this gives me some confidence. Actually, you know what? What am I even saying? If I was in this game, like for real, I would beat it easy. It wouldn't even be a question because I do not care what happened at Playtime Co. Not even a little bit. And when you start playing the game, you learn the story and it's all about saving these poor toys and blah, 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 blah. So your character never actually tries leaving the factory without being the hero. But let's be real, if you put me in Playtime Co., the moment I identify where the nearest exit is, I'm moving directly towards it without thinking twice. Not that I think normally, but yeah, I'm beating this game. I don't care about saving no toys. Respectfully. So I give myself an 85% chance of surviving Poppy Playtime. Mommy Longlegs is the reason for the missing 15% because, well, I might try to rizz her up and end up getting tricked by her. And also Catnap's gas is the other major liability because I like to sleep. But everything else, I'm beating easily. It don't scare me. Now I want to be upfront with you guys right now. My will to live is very strong. There's a lot of things I would do to, well, survive. But at some point, you gotta stop and say to yourself, why am I still doing this? Is it actually worth it? And this is exactly what I would say to myself if you put me in the game, The Last of Us. Let me explain why I'm saying what I'm saying. Just to give a quick breakdown on The Last of Us storyline, it's about an infection breaking out that has mutated and began spreading through humans. But this ain't any normal infection. First, it moves through the brain and you become what is called a runner, still somewhat human in appearance, but you're aggressive, fast, and unsavable. Then we've got stalkers, which are more tactical tactical and hard to detect, and they're more aware of their environment. You've also got clickers, which give me PTSD just saying the name of that, because the clicker is fully blind but uses echolocation to navigate with terrifying accuracy, and if they get a hold of you, you're done. If you don't know what echolocation is, I don't either, so don't ask, but I know that's what they use. Then there are bloaters, which are enormous creatures covered in fungus who throw explosive spore pods at you from a distance. And the second game adds things called shamblers and the Rat King and yada yada yada. But here's the thing I need you to understand about this world. The humans in the game are just as dangerous as the infected people. There are hunters who will rob you, military that will hurt you. If you're a human in this game and you see another human, chances are you're cooked or they're cooked. Just depends who reacts first. So if you actually wanted to survive in this world, you simply have to do what the characters in the game do. Move quietly near clickers, stay out of open ground so people can't see you, check every corner before committing to entering a room, and treat every stranger as a potential threat. You don't have to do this for a day or a week or for a year. No. You have to do this for the rest of your life. So this is where, if I'm in this situation, I have to ask myself,
what exactly am I fighting so hard for?
I just accept my fate and let the zombies eat me? Because I want to stay alive and keep fighting? Dog, what are we fighting for? It is okay to accept defeat. Just rest. Now I know all the people who've played this game's argument is going to be,
Tyler, the character you play as, Joel, is fighting to stay alive for his daughter, Ellie.
But here's the thing. That ain't his actual daughter. He just met her and knew she needed help, and they grew a father-daughter-like bond. So what I would do if I was Joel is find the girl a safe group to let her stay with, and after that, whatever happens, happens. I don't think you're understanding what I'm saying. Genuinely try to put yourself in this situation when the zombie breakout happens. If we're all being honest, this is how it would go. Day 1, freak out, trying to figure out what's happening and hide. Day 2, realize the whole world is going crazy and society is crumbling. Day 3, because society is crumbling, you go inside the grocery store and eat everything in sight for free because there are no rules anymore. Day 4, try to fight some zombies and realize you can't do this forever. Day 5, accept my fate. 0% chance of me surviving The Last of Us, not because of a skill issue, but because I would be too lazy to make it. I don't know about you guys, but I'm getting tired of having to survive in these games where it's based on my physical ability. I only could do 6 push-ups during my fitness gram pacer test. I'm not built for this, but luckily there are horror games that don't just rely on you being physically skilled. There are some that rely on your brains. Now some may say that is a disadvantage for me, and you're probably right, but I actually don't have a rebuttal to that. But anyways, next up, Amanda the Adventurer. The premise of this game is that you find a box of VHS tapes in your attic that belonged to a relative. The tapes contain a children's show called Amanda the Adventurer, starring a girl named Amanda and her companion Wooly the sheep. On the surface, it looks exactly like what it presents itself as. A bright, cheerful show for kids, kinda like Dora. Amanda will hold up a picture and go,
"What animal is this?"
And she waits for your response. But as you start watching the shows, it starts feeling wrong. Slowly at first, then faster. Amanda starts asking things that do not belong in a program made for children, and she gets very angry when you don't answer how she wants. It starts to get really creepy because you can feel the fourth wall breaking when she's genuinely looking at you through the TV. And when you give the wrong answer or refuse to do what she says, she gets mad and basically tries to murder you. Not very nice, Amanda. Her poor little sidekick Wooly is terrified the whole time and basically screaming for help through his eyes. He knows something is wrong with Amanda, he just can't say it. So how do we actually beat this game? You have to watch the VHS tapes and do as it says to beat it. You have to use the clues in these tapes to figure out how to escape. Well, with all due respect, we're literally just dealing with a girl that isn't even in real life. She can only get you through these tapes. So my survival strategy for this game has fewer steps than making instant noodles. I'd walk into the attic, see a box of unlabeled VHS tapes sitting in a dusty corner. I would leave the tapes in the box, walk back downstairs, and never think about it again. I've never owned a VCR. I would have to go out of my way to buy a VCR. It's the same story as the girl from the Ring movie. Just don't get a VCR and you're good. Matter of fact, don't pick up anything that starts with an acronym. VHS, VCR, BBL, just leave it all alone. But let's say I'm already watching the VHS tape before I understand how dangerous it is. And now I'm trapped in the game. Here's exactly how that scene plays out. The tape starts, Amanda's all cheerful and bright. She asks me something simple and I answer it and she moves on. Then she asks something that seems kinda off. It's right in this moment where I would turn the television off. Amanda can't call me on the phone. Think about it. She only hurts you when you disobey what she tells you in the VHS tapes. So if you don't watch the VHS tapes, you'll be fine. It's pretty simple. Once you realize these aren't normal tapes, stop watching them. That's what we would all do in real life, let's be honest. Like if I broke the fourth wall right now and just started saying, "Hey Jake, I know you're in your room right now watching my video. Why are you laying on your bed? Get up, Jake, get up." Like if your name is Jake and you just watched that clip while laying on your bed, chances are you've already scrolled off this video. That's what I would do. It's pretty simple. I've said it before about all these horror games and movies. Just don't do what the killer is trying to to get you to do. It's not rocket science. I'm not letting a Walmart Dora the Explorer scare me all because I don't do what she says on some VHS tapes. Unfortunately though, I talk a big game, but let's be real. I'm a nosy person, so I'm probably not turning those videotapes off if I was actually in this game. And that is when we have a genuine problem that I can't defend myself against. So what is my master plan to beat the game if I was forced to watch every single videotape? I don't know. Who said I have a master plan? Why am I always the one that has to figure out how to beat these games? Why can't y'all be the ones to do it? Because it's your video? You know what, editor? That's a good point. But also, no one asked you for your opinion. You are fired. Third editor I've had to fire this month. All right, guys. Unfortunately, the edits for the rest of this video may look a little weird because I'm the one doing them now, and I'm not the best at it. So just try your best to ignore if the edits look a little weird. But to be fair, the editor did have a good point, and I should probably tell you what I would actually do if I was forced to play all the VHS tapes. LOL, I told you, lil bro. How did you get back in here? I literally just fired you. You know what? Nah, I'm going to your house, editor. Lock your door, buddy.
A few moments later.
Okay, now that I handled that, where was I? Oh, yes. So if I was forced to watch all the VHS tapes, you know what I would do? I would just be a good boy and tell Amanda everything she wanted to hear. This isn't the time to argue. We can fight Amanda after we get out of this attic. But for now, just do what she says. It's like when you listen to your mom because you're hoping she'll get you McDonald's. With that said, I give myself a 95% chance of surviving Amanda the Adventurer. The remaining 5%, I'm blaming on my editor. Well, former editor, I guess. Okay, sorry. I'm just looking up to make sure he didn't sneak back in here somehow. Okay, we're good. So with everything that we've talked about in these horror games and the research I did, the number one thing I've realized is that my willpower is not very strong. You take away my ability to doom scroll for more than 3 days, and that's probably where I call it quits. But I don't know if that's just me or if you guys agree. So let me know in the comments which horror game you think I'm drastically underestimating myself on and which ones you think you would survive. I already know some of you are pulling up the keyboard about to lie so hard about what you would do in these games. But hey, I kind of did the same, so I can't even get mad at y'all.